Welcome back, and we are ready with one of my favorite chefs. Hello there, Mr. Tariq. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you for having me here.
You're
Yeah.
so welcome. Tell me what you're doing tonight.
Well, Thanksgiving is one of my favorite holidays of the year, besides Christmas. And thanks to Sarah Hall, we can celebrate it.
Okay.
But for those of you who are not, for those of you who are trying your first time to roast a turkey and the last thing you want is stress in the kitchen, I'm here to give you the tips and tricks of the trade of roasting a nice juicy bird. Now first, you have to choose the right one for you. There are so many kinds. There are fresh and frozen, heritage and organic. There's kosher and self-basting. Now, self-basting and kosher birds usually are already flavored and brined or basted, so you don't have to do anything to it.
Okay.
But to me, I just go with the regular because I like to control my flavors. And also, if you're choosing frozen, you should plan ahead to thaw it in the refrigerator for about 4 days. Do not, under any circumstances, thaw it in room temperature, because that's the sign of the danger zone. Danger zone, which means that you're inviting bacteria, and I believe maybe virus, other sickening microbes, right into the bird and into the dinner table.
Not who we want to have for dinner. No.
That's definitely not what we want.
No.
Now, number two is that you're going to need to plan 1 to 1.5 pounds of poultry per person. So I usually get a 12 to 16 pound bird, which will feed about 8 to 10 people.
Okay.
But if you're serving more than 10, you could just buy another bird or a separate breast. Just don't get any turkey that's bigger than 16 pounds because you have a higher risk of getting dry white meat, which will be dry and very kind of like plywood and not very good.
Yeah, we don't want that.
Now next, what is this, step 3, I think?
Okay.
Is that you're going to need to brine your turkey. Brining is very crucial if you want it moist and flavorful.
So what is brining?
Well, brine is usually a mixture of salt and spices put together, or salt and water, or sugar, salt and water. And what happens is when you put the turkey into a brine, the salt actually squirts out the moisture, most or all of it, out of the turkey. But that's not all of the story. It sometimes goes back and forth right in and out of the turkey, which is called osmotic pressure or osmosis,
Okay.
to the scientific term.
Yes.
Now, the moisture of the brine and the turkey usually carries the seasonings and the salt right into the bird. So the moisture goes right into the turkey, and when you roast it, it's about 90%, it's not going to be dry.
Okay. Okay. So now brine, does that mean I have to find a really big bag to stick it in with the seasoning and stuff, or how do I do it?
Well, you need about a big food grade bucket, I believe, to put your brine in, because it's going to be a big turkey. And also, you're going to need to add in some ice into your brine to keep your turkey cool, and place it in your cool garage or in the refrigerator if you have the space. It's going to need to brine for about 8 to 12 hours, no more than that. You're not aging the bird, you're just brining it.
Very good information.
Now next is that you're going to need to, let's see, I believe this is step 4, which is to pat it dry, and you're going to have to place some aromatics like onions and a sliced apple right into the cavity with a few sprigs of fresh herbs like, say, sage and rosemary.
Okay.
Due to stuffing, well, for this case, stuffing is bad. because it does nothing for the bird itself, and if you put it right into the cavity, it's going to be contaminated by the germs right inside the bird, and you need to cook both of them at the same temperature, which will be a higher risk of having the breast meat again being dry as a desert.
So I'm gonna put, I never tried that. I put an apple in.
About a sliced cooked apple and a cooked onion right in there, and I believe with a cinnamon stick and a few sprigs of the fresh herbs that I mentioned before, that is going to be just fine.
Okay, okay. So if I want stuffing, just put some on the side.
Yes, place it on the side in a casserole dish, namely known as dressing.
Okay.
Now, for the next step, I would say, what is the next step? Number 5, I think. Yes. Now, you're going to need to pat your turkey dry, and you're going to need to thoroughly lube it or rub it with vegetable oil so it can get a nice crispy skin in the oven.
Okay.
Gives it a little help. And also, you're going to need this little beauty right here.
Okay.
It's the turkey triangle, kind of like a little bit of a breastplate. It goes right on top of the bird, right after you quickly cook it on a high heat. It's going to be placed right here, so the breast meat will be at a different temperature, while the thigh meat will be cooked all the way, because the thigh meat has more fat and connective tissue than the white meat. So preferably the temperature for the thigh, I would say it would be 180 degrees Fahrenheit to be good, while the breast meat, it needs to be somewhere around 161.
Okay. Okay.
More than that, and it's going to be overcooked and very, very bone dry.
Well,
I believe.
we don't want bone dry. So
Yes.
I've learned a lot
And also
today.
next is that you need to shop for a good thermometer.
Okay.
I would say digital thermometers will do fine, but I like my little pro buddy here. Now this goes straight into the breast while you're cooking.
Okay.
While you're cooking the turkey, so you can see what the temperature is and which time to take it out.
Okay.
Now for the material, you might need to roast it on a rack of a roasting pan, but if you don't have a rack, that's okay. You can make a rack out of whole vegetables, like say ribs of celery and whole carrots.
Wow. Okay, that makes sense.
And also basting, skip it. Seriously, skip it. It does nothing for the turkey itself, and if you just baste it with the remaining drippings right from the pan, the skin is like a raincoat.
Okay.
You see, the liquid is just going to slide off. It's not going to go into the bird,
Okay.
and also the water is just going to make the skin soggy. We don't want soggy turkey
we don't
skin.
want soggy
Absolutely not.
skin.
And also, after it's been cooked and nicely for the white meat to be nice and moist as the thigh meat, you're going to need to let it rest. Don't carve into it right away, because you're just going to let all the juices wring out.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Just let it rest for about 30 minutes, a half hour. Now, I would say aluminum foil or a big metal bowl would do fine, but I think a big lid from a kettle grill would do very nicely.
Okay. Okay.
And after that, carving,
We're good. We can
yeah,
just chow down.
yes.
All
Place it
right.
right down right at the main start of the table, and you'll be fine.
All right.
can
So
be-
we all learned the right way. So really important things we learned today. Not to do it at room temperature. Do not thaw your turkey at room temperature.
Nope.
To have it in the refrigerator or cool garage. Right?
Yes, for brining.
For brining.
Mm-hmm.
For brining. Make sure you brine it if you want it nice and moist.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Oh, and also, no brining if it's frozen.
Oh.
It
but
needs to be
not
fully
until
thawed.
it's thawed.
Yes.
Which may take a couple of days. Right?
Yeah, 3 to 4.
3 to 4 days for your frozen turkey. So those of you who have a frozen turkey, pay attention. Oh, I'm sorry. Those of you who have a frozen turkey, pay attention. All right, and then we're gonna put an apple, onion. And you said a cooked apple, so how do I want to cook my apple or my onion?
I would say about maybe heat in the microwave for about a minute on high.
Okay,
That would soften them up.
okay. All right, so we're gonna put cooked apple, onion, maybe cinnamon, rosemary, just
A
some
cinnamon stick, a few sprigs of fresh sage and rosemary.
would be great. All right, so I think I might be able to do this. I'm gonna send you a picture of my turkey. Sound good?
Sounds great.
All right. So we have something else that you're gonna cook for us too, right?
Yes, later I am going to make a new take on the pumpkin pie, which is a pumpkin mousse.
All right. So please stand by. We'll be right back with our pumpkin mousse. All right. So we are now gonna learn how to make a pumpkin mousse, and I'm gonna pay
Yes.
close attention.
Yes, now this recipe is good for anybody who wants a simple yet make-ahead recipe for the Thanksgiving feast, or for people that don't like to bake so much.
Okay.
Now, the first thing that we need is that we have a quarter cup of cold whole milk with a teaspoon of unflavored powdered gelatin. Let's sit here for about 10 minutes just so the gelatin sets.
Okay.
Now I'm going to place this on the burner here for about 5 minutes at a very low heat.
Okay.
Too high and the gelatin will just break apart and it won't work. Now while that is heating up, in this mixer here, I'm going to place in 1.5 cups of heavy cream. Now then we're going to mix on high or about medium high for about, I think maybe 3 to 4 minutes.
Okay.
Or until it forms medium peaks. Medium peaks. Okay. Now while that's doing that, I have here 3/4 of a cup of sugar, half a teaspoon of ground ginger, 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla extract, and now I'm going to add half a teaspoon of nutmeg, freshly grated nutmeg, not that nasty stuff that you get from the tin can.
So I never even knew I could grate my nutmeg. See,
Yes.
I'm learning something every second.
And also in here, there's half a teaspoon of salt.
Okay.
I mean, there is a difference. I mean,
I'm
when
sure,
I
'cause
use
I
a-
like fresh ginger.
that looks like enough.
Okay.
Now, this nutmeg I have for about a year now, and it still tastes great.
Wow. Okay.
For 6 months, when you get the pre-ground stuff, it tastes like, well, wood pulp. Heck, not even wood pulp from a nutmeg tree. Now, just going to mix this in. And now, I'm going to add in one 15-ounce can or one 1-pound package of canned or packaged pumpkin.
Okay.
Do you mind pouring that in
Oh,
there?
I would love to.
Yeah. I have to check the cream.
I'm cooking. Oops, hold on.
Just squeeze it like it's a tube of toothpaste.
All right.
Now let's see. Well, this looks sort of like medium peaks. Okay, we'll handle this later.
All right.
Now I'm just going to mix this all in until it's all well incorporated.
Okay.
Okay. Now let's see the gelatin. And how many minutes has passed by? 2 or 3?
About 3.
Oh well, we can't wait.
All right. So
I
if
think
you're at
it'll do
home, you
fine.
may want to wait 2 more minutes. But for television purposes, we're going to go ahead and dump it in.
I'm just gently going to slowly pour this in.
Slowly pour.
Oh, by the way, which is your favorite part of Thanksgiving dinner?
The vegetables.
The vegetables?
Yes.
Which kind? The parsnips, roasted
I like
carrots,
yes, the roasted carrots,
green beans?
green beans. Yes, all the vegetables are what I love.
All right.
How about yourself? What's your favorite?
I'm mostly a cranberry sauce fan. I just
love
like
that
the
too.
tartness and the sweetness put
Yes.
together. It's kind of like yin and yang, both put in harmony.
Yes, I agree.
All right, then. Now for the cream. Now this, I'm just going to add all of this in.
Okay.
This. Now the trick here is to gently fold this in so we won't lose all the air.
All righty.
This may take a little bit, but patience is key.
Okay.
Oh, and by the way, I don't know if any of you know this, but mousse is actually the French word for froth or foam,
Okay.
which is exactly what this dessert is.
It's looking pretty good too.
Thank you.
Now, will you do most of the cooking for Thanksgiving at your house?
Well, pretty much. I'm mostly in charge of the bird itself and
Okay.
the cranberry sauce and I believe the green beans. I usually do green beans with caramelized shallots and topped with silvered almonds.
Wow.
And then I believe that the pumpkin pie, which I do differently because I don't use the packaged kind. I usually roast it. I usually roast the pumpkin and make my own pumpkin puree because it's an American dessert. And canned pumpkin, well, canned foods are French, so I say it will only fit good in this dessert.
That's right. Makes
Well, at least
sense
it
to
fits
me.
in something.
Yes.
Okay, that looks pretty good. Now, for serving options, I would say ramekins, about maybe 6-ounce ramekins, or you could use fancy little dessert cups like martini glasses or wine glasses. Now, what I'm going to do here is just spoon about a serving into each glass, just so everybody gets a portion and no one is complaining.
What does your mom make best?
Well, I would say maybe her salad.
Her salad?
Or, and she's mostly in charge of the mac and cheese.
All right.
And also, she thinks apple pumpkin pie, that's not enough dessert. And trust me, my dad is a dessert hog.
Okay.
So she bakes apple pie and I believe a cake or maybe a dozen cookies.
Wow. Okay.
Oh, and she's also in charge of the rules, the Thanksgiving dinner rules.
What are some of her Thanksgiving dinner rules?
Well, it's the usual yeast rising rules. You see, they kind of look like a little bitty muffins, I think, with two sections. I think they're called Parker House rolls.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
So she
now,
doesn't make them from scratch like you would?
well, of course she does.
Oh,
Of course she
she
does.
does. Okay.
She's,
That's where you got all your skills from your mom?
partly, I would say.
Partly, okay.
Partly. Most of the other parts, I believe, from my grandmother and from
Okay.
watching TV and reading books.
Okay. What are
Now,
your favorite
for-
cooking shows on TV?
Well, like I said maybe before, for the first time I was here, Good Eats, hosted by Alton Brown. I mean, the puppets and the science, it's just amazing.
Okay.
And it's very quirky and funny.
Okay.
And I believe Paula's Home Cooking, hosted by Paula Dean. She just has that grandmother charm and that southern accent. I just like to watch her.
Okay.
Now, for topping the mousse, I would suggest a sprinkle of cinnamon, or you could use some spiced nuts. I'm using spiced pecans here. I made them myself, but you can use store-bought kind if you want.
So now how did you spice them?
Now, I spice them. I place them in a cast iron skillet with a little bit, with some spices. I would say cayenne pepper, cumin, cinnamon, I believe a little cloves, I believe, and some salt. And I added some brown sugar and some water. And some water just to make the sugar melt and kind of like glaze right on the nuts.
And how long does it take?
Well, actually, it's pretty quick. It takes about maybe 20 minutes.
Okay, that's not bad at all.
Let them sit for about 4 hours in the refrigerator and
Ta-da.
poof!
All right, so we now learned how to. We're going to get Butch to
But
come over,
first,
and he's going to be our tester. Since I have gone vegan, I won't do the dairy.
Thank you, sir.
cheers. Thank you, Sarah.
I'll hold this while you grab.
Thank you.
Is it good?
Very good. Very, very good. Too bad you went vegan.
I'm telling you. This is happening to me now. I may have to make some adjustments.
Very, very good.
Well, I can still make it for everybody else. Yeah, I can try.
You're pretty strong.
Still, I
Yes.
prefer pie, but this is a good replacement.
And that was pretty quick and easy, so
It was. Didn't take a lot of time.
not at all. So we'd like to thank everyone for watching. Tell us your YouTube channel. You have a channel or
Yes, the Young Palate.
The Young Palace. So
Well,
we want
actually,
you-
that's the show's title. The title of the channel is Taste Buds with Tariq.
Taste Buds with Tariq. So for more great insight on how to get things done the Tariq way, which seems to be the right way to do it, right? It's giving us lots of good information here. Taste Buds with Tariq. And spell your name so that everybody knows how. T-A-R?
Tariq. Not K, but Q.
That's it. All right. Well, thank you so much for watching, and thank you for testing.
Absolutely.
And thank you for sharing your talent.
Thank you very much.
All right.
You're
We'll
welcome.
see you next time. Have a wonderful holiday meal.
Thank you very much.